Hello and welcome to this Dr. Frost video on solving problems where a single fraction of a quantity is taken combined with some other fixed quantity. Let's read the question. A jar contains sugar. The jar and the sugar have a total weight of 264 grams. Ava uses 3/4 of the sugar. The jar and sugar now have a total weight of 201 grams. Work out the weight of the jar. Now, to help us understand the information we've got, let's think about what we have before we use the sugar and after we use the sugar. Before we have the jar and we have all the sugar. So all of the sugar. And then we use 3/4 of the sugar. So we use 3/4 of the sugar. And we then still have the jar, and we'd have 1/4 of the sugar left. I didn't really need to write what we have after, but the key here is that we used up 3/4 of the sugar, and we can see how the weight has changed. So the weight has reduced, you can see, by 63 grams. So if we just do the calculation to subtract it, the difference in weight, I'll just use diff for short, is equal to 264 grams minus 201 grams, which is 63 grams. But we know the difference in weight is accounted for by the fact that we've used up 3/4 of the sugar. So that means we can write 3/4 of the sugar is equal to that difference of 63 grams. And then we know how to work backwards from here, from a previous video, to work out what's the weight of all the sugar. And if we know the weight of all the sugar, we can then work out the weight of the empty jar. So let's first go via 1/4 of the sugar. So if we know 3/4 of the sugar, we divide by 3 to get 1/4 of the sugar. So divide that by 3 as well. And that is 21 grams. So that means all of the sugar, well, 1/4 of the sugar is 21. All of the sugar, we just times by 4, so times this by 4 as well, and we get 84 grams of sugar. So all of the sugar weighs 84 grams, we worked that out. Now, we started with the jar and all the sugar. The jar contains sugar, the jar and the sugar have a total weight of 264 grams. Now, if we know that the sugar weighs 84 grams, we can therefore subtract these numbers to work out the weight of just the jar. So the weight of the jar is the weight of the jar and the sugar, so 264, subtract the weight of the sugar, and that gives you 180 grams, and that is the final answer.